Open your eyes. Open your eyes.
Partner, do you ever wonder what our brains are doing at night while we sleep? Let's think about it, right? Is it like putting windows into sleep mode? Or are we like bears hibernating to conserve energy? Hardly. And based on my research, I've come up with an interesting metaphor. I think that when we sleep, our brains are like dolphins, performing an intricate choreographed ballet, singing and dancing among the waves to the rhythm of the night.
This is the rhythm of the night. The night. Oh yeah.
You and I divide our waking states into different categories, right? Time we spend working, time we spend playing, and time we spend on the potty. But we don't really think about dividing sleep up into different stages. It's all the same, isn't it? If you're a sleep researcher, you divide sleep into a number of different stages. If you took a big swing with a lightsaber, you could cut sleep into two basic parts: REM sleep and non-REM sleep. And from there, researchers divide non-REM sleep into 3 or 4 stages. But we're going to simplify things a bit and talk about REM sleep, light non-REM sleep, and deep non-REM sleep. Now, what are these divisions based on? Well, they're based on changes in our body and changes in our brain, as measured by an EEG, an electroencephalogram. There's a reason that we've stacked up these stages in this particular order. As you descend down each level of sleep, your body slows down more and more. Your heart rate goes down along with your blood pressure, your breathing slows, your body temperature drops, and your muscles relax. Something very similar happens to the brain, and we go from these very quick, shallow brain waves to these very slow and deep ones. Although there is this general pattern of slowing down during sleep, there are all of these other signatures that distinguish each of these stages and tell us that something really functional is happening as well. Let's start at the bottom in non-REM deep sleep, where we encounter these slow, tall delta waves. Each of these sharp peaks represents a collection of neurons firing simultaneously. Think about an audience that erupts into applause. It starts off chaotic, and sometimes it will spontaneously synchronize into these slow claps. In addition, non-REM deep sleep is the restorative phase of sleep, and if you get selectively deprived of it, you will not feel rested in the morning. As we move up into non-REM light sleep, we encounter a more active, more chaotic waveform that includes things like theta waves and neurological events called sleep spindles, which are these things right here, which are associated with memory consolidation. Moving up into everyone's favorite REM sleep, we encounter a totally desynchronized waveform that is rather hard to differentiate between our waking state. It's where we encounter rapid eye movements that the stage is named after, dreams, and it's thought to be crucially important for emotional memory and mood stabilization. So now that we have a feel for the various stages of sleep, how does our brain transition from one stage to another? And how long in each stage does it spend? Just like a song cycles back and forth between the chorus and the verse over and over, your brain also cycles between these 3 stages of sleep. And it always starts with a period of non-REM sleep, and it ends with a period of REM sleep. And this happens every 90 minutes on average. It does this 4 to 5 times over the course of a night, giving us that 7 to 8 hours of recommended sleep. Let's start at the beginning. What happens when we fall from consciousness into that vast ocean of sleep? Partner, we become a magical dolphin, and we quickly descend down through light sleep to deep sleep, where we ride those delta waves until we start running out of air, at which point we rise back up through light sleep and take a quick breath of REM sleep before completing our first cycle. Cycle 2 will be similar. We'll go down to deep sleep. But because we don't have as much momentum, we'll come up into light sleep a little bit more often, and then end in REM sleep again. In cycles 3 and 4, we'll get very little deep sleep. We'll spend most of our time in light sleep, with gradually more and more going to REM sleep. And in the final cycle, it's as if we spend just enough time in light sleep to build up enough momentum to take one last final plunge up out of the water into REM sleep, where we'll soar. And we'll spend so long there, we'll forget we're a dolphin because we're dreaming, and soar back into the realm of consciousness. So that's it, partner. That is the magical ballet. And it's more like a template, because the variability is pretty large. The key thing to take away is that the beginning, middle, and end of your night of sleep are dominated by different stages. So why does our brain cycle back and forth between all of these stages of sleep? One interesting theory, or at least my interpretation of it, is that the brain is tuning itself. And the stages of non-REM sleep are when the brain makes modifications to the networks. It's when it becomes more plastic and it consolidates memory. And then during REM sleep, the brain is testing out those modifications to see if they actually work properly. So maybe that's what dreams are. All of these random parts of the network getting cued into the simulation, creating this stew of imagery and emotion, somehow both too relevant to ignore, but too strange to understand. And maybe cycling back and forth allows our brain to gradually tune the networks, leading to more stable systems. So I hope that was interesting for you. And remember, your brain is performing a ballet while you sleep. And the best way to get good sleep is to let it finish the performance. So sweet dreams, partner. And I'll see you again next time on The Joy of Sleeping